welcome to the 30th Annual Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame Kinsman Dinner. I know we said thank you before, but when you go to the Key Store, they treat you like kings, and they certainly treated us very well tonight. Big hand of applause to Dan and the staff at Key Store. 1976, I thought that Brockville should have a sports hall of fame, or at least a dinner to honor people. And that first year, I handpicked 5 people that represented sport in Brockville. The Kinsman Club agreed that they would do it. We lost our shirts, and it took 17 years for me to convince them that we should do it again. That's why if you look at the program, you see 1976 and then 1993. The Kinsman Club have been with us from the very start. I want to thank them very much for their support, not only for this, but for so many things that happen in our community. They are the All-Canadian Club, the Brockville Kinsman Club.
Thanks, Bruce. It's a great pleasure for me as a member of Provincial Parliament to say a few brief words, but also to make a presentation. I want to congratulate you and all of your committee for a fantastic turnout tonight. This is the opportunity for us to celebrate the creme de la creme of sports in our area, and I want to congratulate all the people who were nominated, all of the winners who were announced in advance, and all of you for supporting this wonderful, wonderful event. Bruce, thank you for everything you do. As Bruce said, there's been a stop and a start with this Hall of Fame. However, this is the 30th anniversary. So on behalf of myself and Michael Barrett, our local MP, I'd like to ask Ron Smith, the chair. Smitty, you look so nice with your suit. I want to bring you up and just present the 2 scrolls and just thank you to the committee for the work that you do, not just tonight, but 365 days of the year getting ready for this wonderful, wonderful event. Congratulations, everyone.
On behalf of the committee, I am introducing the Brockville Hyundai Coaching Award for this year's recipient, Jason Crotty. For those of you who don't know Jason, he has spent the last 20 years giving back to the sport that he grew up playing. That would be basketball. Woo! He's as tall as I am up here on the podium. Since the graduate of South Grenville District High School, began coaching junior boys basketball there in 2003. He moved up to the senior team for the next 6 years. Then he transferred to Thousand Island Secondary School, and he has coached junior and senior boys basketball there. Jason has won several leagues and Grenville titles while at TIS, along with the last 2 seasons as Eastern Ontario champions, which is a first time ever achievement in the long history of the Pirates. Jason has coached the Brockville Blazers and the Brockville Blues since 2003, winning several championships as well. His teams play with a competitive spirit and a fiery attitude that they get from their coach. They also have a very strong work ethic. Jason has shown his versatility also by coaching golf and tennis at TIS, and he has participated in clinics and helped out in the fundraising events for those sports. At this time, the Sports Hall of Fame Committee would like to honor Jason Crotty with the Brockville Hyundai Coaching Award.
I'm not sure anybody from Brockville Hyundai was able to come tonight. I don't think so. So Jason, I'll present this on behalf of Dane and the people at Brockville Hyundai. Congratulations. Thank you.
I'm just going to wing a quick speech here. First of all, I want to thank Hyundai and Dane. It's certainly has always helped with fundraising and essentially allowed us to go to the offices the last couple of years. One thing that coming up here and seeing a lot of faces, and there are a lot of older faces that I recall. People, when I talk about fiery attitudes and things like that, that is, if you see me coach, that is me. I am extremely competitive, and I think that's a big part of why our guys play so hard. But I see guys like Jim Toshak, Jim Vickery, and Mike Rosenberg, and guys that I've coached or I've looked up to over the years. So when I do get fired up, a lot of that comes from those guys. And even coaching against Jim, even this past year, he could still get worked up sometimes too. So I do come by that very honestly. But it's certainly an honor to get recognized this year. I want to thank the players that I've had throughout the years. At TIS, two of our coaches are guys that I've coached many years ago, and it's nice that they're getting back and giving back to the community and to the team as well. And I also want to thank the players and their families for continued support and their sort of commitment to our program and giving it everything that they have. Thank you.
Hello, I'm presenting the volunteer awards tonight. Rose Williams. Volunteers are the valuable people who make everything possible. Rose Williams is a perfect example of that. In 1994, she began helping out when her boys became involved in hockey. She started as the manager for Ron Baker's initiation group in Spencerville. Little did she know she was about to embark on a 30-year journey through minor hockey. She's been involved in every position possible with the South Grenville Minor Hockey Association since 1995, including an 8-year run as president. She has done the ice scheduling for the Rideau St. Lawrence Kings since 2010. She has volunteered with the Upper Canada Minor Hockey League in positions including convener and chairperson since 2000. Rose has been a volunteer for the Leo Boyven Showcase Under 18 Hockey Tournament since 2003. That's the one where you not only do all the volunteering work beforehand to set up the tournament, but then you are in the rink from early morning to late for 4 straight days. There are a number of loyal and longtime volunteers for that tournament, and thanks to people like Rose and to others, that is why it has been such a success for such a long time. Now she is indicating that she is retiring from her volunteer duties with the hockey associations. She may be stepping back from hockey, but her retirement may not last long. Her phone will be ringing again. There's always a demand for good volunteers. Rose Williams has been a better than a good volunteer. That is why she is more than deserving to be the co-winner of the PhotoVisions Volunteer Award.
I'd ask Mark Oliver from PhotoVisions to come up to present the award.
I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank my co-winner, Richie, on this award also. I'm not good at this. I'd also like to congratulate everyone here tonight who's being honored and acknowledged for their achievements and accomplishments. I'd like to thank Stephanie Foley, who's the president of South Grenville, who nominated myself and a couple of my volunteer families for this award. Thank you to the nominating committee and organizers for this 2-day event, who I can only imagine had a very difficult time choosing who will be awarded these awards. But volunteering is a lost service. It is both gratifying and frustrating at times, and I am seeing a pattern where people would rather just sit back and let someone else do it than step up. I've had the pleasure of working with some tremendous individuals over my 30 years of volunteering in both hockey and baseball. I have never done this for the praise or acknowledgement, but just to be involved. I never wanted to be the person who sits on the sidelines and complains, rather get up and help out. My granddaughter asked me a couple weeks ago why I always go to meetings and hockey games when her daddy and uncles don't play anymore. I told her it was something I like to do, and she said, "You're crazy." I told her 2 things. I've been called a lot of things in hockey and baseball, and that's pretty much one of the nicest things I've been called. And her papa and I met some of our closest friends who volunteering in our boys' sports and watching them play. Without volunteering, I would have missed out on friendships that I have cherished for a long time. 2 of my hockey besties, Mary and Vicky, are here with me tonight. To my husband Greg and boys, Peyton, Mason, and Noah, you have put up with 30 years of me going to meetings, to games, to practices for other people's kids. missing your games and practices so I go put out fires in another association. You knew volunteering was my addiction, my need to help people and organize things that I could get involved in. You four have put up with a lot, and I love you for always understanding my volunteer madness. I am truly honored to receive this award along with Richie. Thank you.
Yes, a once hard rock defenseman for the Athens Junior B hockey team would turn into a volunteer who just can't say no. That is Richie Welch. Around Athens, if you're an organization or just a person who's looking for some help with something, one of the first calls you're going to make is to Richie Welch. Richie's been involved in minor hockey since he took his coaching certificates in 1989. He began in the Athens District Minor Hockey Association right after that. He progressed to the Ottawa Valley Selects and then to the Rideau St. Lawrence Kings. In 2000, he even went back to his beginnings when he was the assistant coach for the Athens Arrows. He was back to the Athens Minor Hockey Association after that, and then helping out the St. Lawrence Kings as a conditioning camp instructor. For the past 30 years, Richie has been a power skating instructor with the Athens Figure Skating Club. Just as volunteers do, Richie helps out because there's a need, and he is always willing to step up and help out. Richie is a positive role model for kids, always encouraging, always willing to help out youngsters. Richie is one of those shucks kind of guys who is not looking for this kind of attention. He just wants to be a good community-minded person and help out wherever he can. It's the code of the volunteer. He's always going to answer the call. That is why he is more than deserving as the co-winner of the PhotoVisions Volunteering Award.
Well, Diane's right. This is not my thing. So I was thinking today, how am I going to deal with this personally? And the way I do it with the kids is I know they're all 5, 6, 7 years old, and I have this. So when I have this around my neck, I'm kind of in charge. So anyway, yes, 5 years of Junior B in Athens under a great manager, Wayne McManus. I'm sure a lot of you people have heard that name, know that person. When I turned 20 years old and couldn't play anymore, I was working full-time, married. Wayne said, "Richie, I have a job for you." I said, "Oh, what's that?" He said, "I want you to come and help me coach Bantam house team." So I said, "Sure, let's do that." So after about 4 or 5 games, Wayne took me aside and he said, "Richie, remember those guys, those coaches, those old school coaches that you really didn't like?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Don't become one of them." And that was a great lesson for me. And I still remember that. And Wayne passed away 6 months ago. And I don't think people have any idea the amount of work that man put into the Athens Association and what a great model he was for the Junior B hockey in this area, not just Athens. When I get to do power skating every Monday night, so I go from September till April, so that means every Monday night for 30 years, I have not been home. And our children are in their 40s now, so they were without their dad for 30 years. Every Monday, I knew where I was, but on the other hand, I got to meet and deal with a lot of children at that time, and now I'm teaching power skating to their children. And when I look out in the stands and I see those parents, and I say, I should know that person. And then I look at the list, and I do them. I taught them when they were 6 years old. So it's been a good run for me. About 5 or 6 years ago, Karen came home one day, and she'd been at the doctor, and said, I was talking to Amy today, and she said that she's going to take over the initiation program in Athens. I said, well, that's great. So I went, problem. she doesn't have anybody to help her. I said, well, I've done my time, and I think I'm gonna take a break. And she said, Richie, Amy needs your help. So I knew I was hooked. But as it turns out, our grandchildren are in Toronto, and they're both heavily involved in all sports. So we don't get to see them as much as I would like to. So now, as things worked out, I'm at the rink Monday nights, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, and now I'm dealing with about 60 to 70 children who I consider my grandchildren. So, I just have a couple stories. They're kind of my top three. When I talked to my daughter yesterday, she said, Dad, you got so many stories. And I could literally write a book. I come home every Monday night, Karen will say, okay, what happened? So we talk. One story, 15 years ago, I'm on the ice, and we're doing this drill, and the kids aren't behaving all that well. And I don't deal well with disruption. So I said, this is how it has to be. You have to start here, you have to finish there, and you got to skate as hard as you can. So I'm 40 years old. I'm not that bad a skater yet. So I go and I come back, and this little girl comes up beside me a couple minutes later and says, Coach, is that as fast as you can skate? I said, yes. So one other night, we're at the arena, and I always call them in by the penalty box, get everybody settled down. And there's 2 or 3 young lads that were misbehaving. So I just stood there. I had my stick like this, my gloves on my stick, and the one behavior comes up and he says, Coach, are you mad? I said, no, but I'm a little bit sad. So then I said, when you guys are misbehaving, it takes away from everybody else and it makes me kind of disappointed. So they all left. We started our drills, and this lad comes up beside me. He says, Coach, when I get sad, I just think of unicorns and rainbows. I told that story at work, and every time I got a little frustrated, everybody reminded me. Just this year, I'm out on the ice. We have 38 skaters on Sunday mornings, Saturday and Sunday mornings. So one lad comes up to me, and we've been going for about 2 months. And he comes up and he's got this panic look on his face. He's 5 years old. He says, Richie, I need your help. I said, what's going on? He says, on the way to the rink, my grandmother said, Emerson, you need to learn to stop today. So we worked on the stopping and worked on the stopping. At the end of the session, we're going off the ice. I look around, he's just tearing up the ice. And he stops right in front of me. I said, Emerson. He said, Coach, best day ever. Anyway, I just want to thank all volunteers. You know who you are and you know the time you put in. There's lots of volunteers in this area. I know one from the Athens area who, for every hour I have put in, she has put in at least 5. And the reason I know that is because we live in the same house.
I met her, I think, days after I came to Brockville, because she happened to work across the street from the radio station at the gas station, and I'd go over there, and that's where I met her for the first time. She was a secretary at Lynn's school, and at Lynn's school, she decided that there wasn't anything for the kids to do as far as gymnastics. So she started teaching gymnastics at the school. Now, she was a figure skater. Her sister was a teacher, but Joanne kind of skipped the figure skating part and went into more of the gymnastics part. She started what is today, and gymnastics wouldn't be what it is today without this lady. She started the Jiminy Crickets and ran them for 30 years. Jiminy Crickets competed, won championships, did everything. But she didn't quit there. When she left the Jiminy Crickets, she looked at something else. And I guess she was getting older too. So she started a thing called Cycling Without Age. And what that is they will take seniors for a ride. They can get 2 on the front, and they'll take them around town for those seniors that aren't mobile and would like to still get out. It's a very popular program, and again, she started that one. It's a delight for me to welcome into the Hall of Fame my friend, Joanne Bell. Joanne, that's just a plaque for you to keep at home. Tomorrow night you will be officially inducted into our Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. Being nominated, then being voted into the Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame is a real honor. I'd like to thank the committee for recognizing my contributions to sport and recreation by voting me into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all of tonight's inductees as well. I want to thank my family because you can't commit as much time as I did to our sport without the support of your family. So thank you, Ed and Ashley. I've been involved in a number of sports throughout my life. I started figure skating around the age of 6, only recreationally because I didn't like to practice figures. And in my day, you had to do those little circles around and around and around all the time in order to get good at them and to compete. That wasn't for me. My favorite night to skate was Thursdays because that's when the Brockville Braves practiced after us. I enjoyed being in the annual skating show. I can remember my dad helping with the sets and my mom helping with the costumes. In later years, I coached in many local communities. I played in the Ladies Softball League until 1983. As one of the Lynn Ladies regulars, I was on the All-Star team a number of times. I have very fond memories of the gymnastics club I founded in mid-1970s. Jiminy Crickets was a catchy name that we had for years. And the kids were happy to be called Crickets and have the character as a mascot. The club started at Lynn School and required us to set the equipment up and take it down every night of the week. Setting up and taking down, moving from locations like Tin Cap School, the Brockville Shopping Center, St. Francis School, the Brockville Psychiatric Hospital, to a warehouse on Coons Road was exhausting. Reaching an agreement with the city of Brockville to lease the club's old rotary pool meant a permanent home for us, and it's a location that we still reside in today. We used to take our equipment, it's a funny one. We used to take our equipment all over Leeds and Grenville to schools, community festivals, and parades in the back of my truck. And Emily was just reminding me tonight about a time we were driving down the road and I hit a bump and one of those big rolls of mats popped out of the back of the truck and rolled all the way down the road. We had to go roll it back up again and put it back in the truck. I have to remember all the good people who helped at the club with the bingos that we had to do to raise money to buy equipment. I also enjoyed all of our summer camps. There are hundreds of gymnasts, recreational and competitive, supportive parents, and very supportive gym friends that I am still in contact with or I enjoy bumping into. I won't mention everyone because I'm sure I'll miss someone, but I'll never forget the support of Kim Herberson and Diane Millward during my years as head coach. I spent years reinforcing the Ontario Gymnastics Federation motto of having fun, increasing fitness, and learning fundamentals. That's what it is all about, in my opinion. I'm glad to see the gym continues to successfully operate under the direction of Emily Dancy, who was one of our original Jiminy Crickets, and a very supportive board. In my more recent years, I have developed a passion for bringing joy to area residents through founding the Brockville chapter of Cycling Without Age. In 2019, when my mom was living in long-term care, along with Greg McElray, I decided to start the Cycling Without Age chapter that would allow people to feel the wind in their hair. That's the motto of Cycling Without Age. Our fleet of trishaws and our Velo Plus bikes, which are wheelchair accessible, we go to retirement homes and long-term care homes all over Leeds and Grenville. We go from Brockville to Athens, Merrickville, Prescott, Easton's Corners, Gananoque, Smith Falls, and Morrisburg. We've started up this year right now, and it brings me so much joy to volunteer my time to pilot the seniors and those living with disabilities all along the Brock Trail, through the tunnel, or in their local community. In 2023, Cycling Without Age volunteer pilots took area residents on over 530 rides. Volunteering your time to develop and build recreational and sports opportunities for our community is a work of heart. I want to thank the committee for recognizing my contributions by inducting me into the Brockville and Area Sports Hall of Fame.
Dave Campbell. The Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame honors the star athletes and the builders who make valuable contributions in athletics over a long period of time. The Sports Hall also honors individuals who go beyond Brockville and Area and make an impact in athletics on the world stage. Dave Campbell is one of those people. The graduate of Brockville Collegiate, always enjoyed playing basketball and football, but his mark in athletics was making sure other athletes performed at their best. Dave is an athletics therapist and was the owner and manager of sports medicine clinics in Montreal for 30 years. He worked with the Montreal Manic of the North American Soccer League and has been a consultant with the Montreal Canadiens for 25 years. He was the head therapist for the 1985 World Gymnastics Championships and a member of the Canadian medical team for the 1986 and 1990 Commonwealth Games. He was the head therapist for the Canadian medical team at the 1996 Olympic Games. He has worked with Canadian athletes at 5 other Olympic Games: 2006 in Turin, 2010 in Vancouver, 2012 in London, 2014 in Sochi, and 2016 in Rio de Janeiro. He has helped notable Olympic athletes such as Jennifer Heil, Alexander Bilodeau, Dominique Malte, Eric Day, Tessa Virtue, and Scott Moyer. He has served on the Ethics Committee and as its chairman with the Canadian Athletic Therapists Association. Dave Campbell has helped Canadian athletes be successful at the biggest amateur sporting events in the world. He was named to the Canadian Athletic Therapists Hall of Fame in 2011, has been a member of the BCI Hall of Fame since 2008. Now, he is being rightfully honored again. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Dave Campbell as the newest inductee to the Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame.
Ron, present him with this.
Yeah, it's right here. I can present you with it. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you, Ron, for that nice introduction. I was coming home from a really bad day on the golf course a few weeks ago, and I got this nice phone call from Ron telling me about this great honor. My sincere thanks to my brother Rob for submitting the proposal for this. My brother was recognized here 24 years ago as Volunteer of the Year, so it's very nice to be able to come into this same group and be honored by the same group of people here in Brockville. Thank you very much to the committee for recognizing the submission as being worthy and welcoming to the Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame. My love of sports started really early. Growing up in Geneva Court in the east end of Brockville, I started practicing my boxing skills by beating up on my sister Heather, who's here right now. And then I quickly had to practice my running skills to run from my brother Rob, who would exact revenge from my sister. I moved on to some more structured sports quickly afterwards. It was either ball hockey in the street, basketball in the driveway, pick-up football games at Fulton Park. And then I moved on to BCI, which had a vibrant sports program. I noticed a lack of BCI teams being nominated this year, but congratulations to all the TIS teams for their nominations. And we don't know this when we're kids because we don't know nothing about nothing, but you don't, so. But all these sports programs, whether city run or school run, are riding on the backbones of the people who structure, organize, and volunteer their times. The teachers at BCI, who also coach us on the nights and the weekends. We don't understand the work they put in until many years later, and hopefully you get a chance to thank them now and later on as well. I tried to pay it forward. I coached my daughters in basketball, softball, and soccer until I realized I didn't know what I was doing, and I made sure I stepped aside for those who knew a lot more about it than I did. I had a little bit of serendipity on my road to where I am now. I was all signed, sealed, and delivered to go to Carleton University in chemical engineering. My good friend Pat Sheehan, who's in the Hall of Fame as well here, was being recruited to Concordia to play football, so I took a little road trip to Concordia. And I found a really great program called Biophysical Education, which was a really strong science-based approach to movement and sports. And I made a switch at the last minute and went to Concordia. And lo and behold, a small town kid comes to the big city, and what does he do? He's got to try and figure it all out. I discovered two wonderful things at Concordia University. With the program of biophysical education, it led to being able to be qualified to become a certified athletic therapist, which I didn't know anything about at the time, but once I took my first anatomy course and got involved with the sports teams at the university, that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm fortunate that I still get to do it today. And the other thing I discovered at Concordia University, which was even more important than that, is I got to meet this lovely co-ed named Danielle. And we're looking forward to celebrating our 45th wedding anniversary in October. So the Montreal Manic soccer team was part of the North American Soccer League, which was a precursor many years ago to what the MLS is now. And it was a nice springboard for me. The league only lasted a few years, but allowed me to set up shop in the city and start some sports medicine clinics and get involved with the sports programs throughout the whole city. I was fortunate to hook on with the Montreal Canadiens, where up until last year I'd been a regular consultant with them. I had a great disdain for the Montreal Canadiens growing up in Brockville. All they did was win Stanley Cups, and I grew up a Chicago Blackhawks fan. It was very painful. And then in the 25 years that I work with them, they don't win one Stanley Cup the whole time I'm there. But it's great working with elite athletes at that level and the pressure of playoffs. And you're not just trying to get someone ready in a couple of weeks. Sometimes you got to get someone ready in 20 minutes to get back out for the next period. So different pressures and different challenges, but always worthwhile. And then with my clinical experience in Montreal, I hooked up with this group called B210, which was providing value-added services to Olympic athletes in the search of medals. And I got to work with a great team of sports psychologists, massage therapists, strength and conditioning specialists, all trying to put packages of programs together for these athletes to excel at the international level. And it allowed me to grow culturally as well, as I visited countries all over the world, some of which I never would have seen otherwise. So it was really worthwhile, both professionally, but also in overall growth. It was just a wonderful experience for me to do that. I have one last story I'll leave you with. It won't be a long one, but it's embedded in my memory. I know exactly. It was in August of 1987. I know that's a long time ago. My wife Danielle and I came back to Montreal to visit Mom, and we had our daughter with us. She was 9 months old. I know exactly where I parked. Courthouse Square, first parking lot on the east side going up. Put the money in the parking meter. We go for a walk, and we're going all over the city, down to Blockhouse Island. And coming back, I know the parking meter's expired. I just know it. And Stone, I see the piece of paper under the windshield, right? Go grab the piece of paper under the windshield, and it says, your time on the parking meter has run out, but your welcome has not. Courtesy of the Brockville Chamber of Commerce. Good thing I have Quebec plates, they know as a visitor, I guess. Anyways, it's always nice to feel welcome when you come back home. I feel very welcome now, thank you.
All right, our next inductee, I met when I had a toothache. And he was my dentist for a number of years. I had no idea about his background. He was athletic, he was competitive in many sports. When he enrolled at the University of Toronto in the early 1960s, he was introduced to wrestling, and that became his passion. After graduation, he began to coach the University of Toronto wrestling team back in 1964. Roger was successful in earning one of the 4 spots on the Canadian team for the Tokyo Olympics, an accomplishment he considers the highlight of his wrestling career. After settling in Brockville, Roger became an avid and talented sailor. In 1992, in a series of 7 excursions over 6 years, he sailed around the world in his 35-foot sailboat. He continued to sail until he passed away in 2022. In 2023, Roger was inducted into the University of Toronto Hall of Fame. And this year, we welcome Roger Donor into the Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame. I'd ask his brother to come on up and accept the award.
Thank you, Bruce. I take great pleasure and pride in accepting this award on behalf of my brother. Celebrating this induction tonight with me are Roger's wife, Eileen, and my wife, Rita. I think I can cut this pretty short because Bruce here just did everything I was going to say about Roger. The only thing I would add, and I'll do it very shortly, is perhaps Roger's most interesting fight, one that most of you aren't aware of, maybe even Bruce is aware of it, but he had an encounter with a 400-pound bear in a mall in Toronto, and it's a busy night and everybody's going to speak. I'll make it a story for another day. Thank you very much, and I thank the committee.
No, I'm not used to these mics. I did manage the arenas, but I never used the mics. So if I get handed away from it, yell. Terry Halpenny. Terry was very involved in local sports. In the early 70s, Terry began coaching in the Brockville Little League. In his first year, he won the championship. But I guess it helped. He had a kid on the team by the name of Dan Collison, if everybody knows who Dan is, for the hitting and the pitcher. Terry also umpired during the Bunnies games on a weekly basis in the early 80s. He also umpired senior ball in the Prescott area for the senior team. In 1973 to 75, he coached a midget hockey team with George Grant. A number of the players on that team were members of the 1971 Canadian champion Little League team who played hockey in the wintertime, I guess. Also in the 80s, he was statistician for the Brockville Braves, as well as doing the color commentary on CFGR with Bruce for Braves games broadcasted over CFGR. Terry was named the league historian and won the Sam Pollock Award for outstanding contribution to the league. When Mike McCord purchased the Brockville Braves in 2003, it gave Terry a chance to be reconnected to the Braves. With his scouting duty, Terry was deeply involved in day-to-day operations of the Braves. While scouting with Mike in the Toronto area, they came across a 16-year-old kid by the name of Wayne Simmons, who played for the Braves for the 1 year, and then went to the OHL, and then to the NHL, and he's just ending his career with the Toronto Maple Leafs this year. Do you think he'll be back? Terry and his wife, Diane, billeted players. And I think it was Diane did a lot of the work. I see her down there smiling. When Mike sold the Braves, Terry's interest switched to photography. This aided Terry in his work with the CHL league historian. Most players and teams that were in the CHL were photographed, as well as a number of the OHL players who had local interests. The family has done the best to keep his Facebook alive, giving people access to those archived photos. It is my honor to welcome into the Brockville Sports Hall of Fame, Terry Halpin.
Scott, the son Scott to come out to accept the present. Scott, we loved your dad. I can tell you working with him was a pleasure. And the one memory I have is the night the Braves won the CGHL championship. And I said to him before, you know, if they win, don't scream and yell. Anyway, they won. I have no idea what happened, but he yelled, he screamed. I'm not sure how it sounded. But anyway, he was a great guy, and we're proud to have him in the Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Actually, it's kind of nice coming back here. I worked at this rink as a teen, and I worked for John Sharp, who was great to work for, but it's nice to come to an event and not have to clean the washrooms after. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge a couple people who accompanied me tonight. My mother, Diane, and my sister, Andrea, sitting right over there. As well, I'd like to extend a few thank yous. First to the nomination committee and Ron Smith, who reached out to me to instigate this process. Ron is a great ambassador for sports in Brockville. With no Twitter or social media available at the time, myself and my teammates anxiously awaited Ron's articles after playing a game. Ron is not only a fabulous writer, but also gives back as an official, coach, and participant in local sport. I would also like to thank a few people I reached out to for more information on Dad during the nomination process. Randy Lattiser, Randy Sexton, Cyril Leader, and my close and probably best friend, Mike McCourt. A great story was recalled by Cyril Leader, one of which I had heard a number of times from Dad. Cyril was playing for Dad on the Brockville midget team, and they had a tournament in Smith Falls. Unfortunately, Cyril broke his collarbone and couldn't play. Dad convinced Cyril to dress for the game and sit on the bench in moral support. Well, if the game didn't end up tied after regulation and went to a shootout where Cyril turned around and said, "I'm willing to shoot." Cyril took the penalty shot and scored the game-winning goal in a game in which he never played a shift. And it's collaborated because they both told me the exact same story. So, and it's something I've never seen before, and I don't think I'll ever see in the future. I also think Dad would be very honored to be inducted with Neil McHugh, a goalie who he coached in tandem with Larry Crook and considered a friend. Dad did a tremendous job in rebuilding the history of the Brockville Braves and what was then known as the Central Junior Hockey League. Not only statistically, but also uncovering the historical photographs and stories that add personality to the statistics. As well, my father was able to capture a more recent period of local hockey history with his photography. Probably the most enjoyable part of Dad's sports journey was when he joined the Braves after their purchase by Mike McCourt. Mike and Dad spent countless hours on the road, scouting and recruiting, with a highlight, as Sharpie said, of adding Wayne Simmons to the Braves roster. The part that Sharpie didn't mention there is at the time I was working as a scout for the Mississauga Ice Dogs, and we had cut him a month before. And then he ended up living in my house, in my bedroom. In closing, on behalf of my father, I would like to thank the Hall of Fame for this recognition, as well as for being a large part of not allowing local sports history to be forgotten. Also, congratulations to the athletes and supporters being honored here. It's a tremendous accomplishment. Thank you.
Barb Saya. Barb Saya has always been involved in sports. She started playing organized ladies softball as a teenager in Cardinal in 1970 It was a more than 20-year playing career that took her from Cardinal to Spencerville, to Donville, to Johnstown, to the Brockville OK Economy team. There was 1 year where she was playing for 3 different teams in Brockville, Cardinal, and Johnstown, as well as coaching minor girls softball. She was the chauffeur and the motivational, inspirational cheerleader, if you know Barb, that is true, at the same time. In hockey, she learned at a young age with her brothers on the St. Lawrence River. At age 14, she played hockey for her high school team, for Spencerville, and then for the Brockville Little Angels from 1972 to 1994. She was the captain on the Little Angels for a lot of those years, and her number 2 has been retired by the Little Angels and hangs on the wall of the Brockville Memorial Center. At the first Women's World Hockey Tournament hosted by Canada in 1990, Barb was the goal judge. In the Canada versus United States gold medal game, Barb was required to make a controversial call that was not in Canada's favor. Hockey analyst Don Cherry came out and said the right call was made on the play. Barb remained objective and Canada went on to win the gold. Throughout her sports career as a player and coach, she gained the trust, friendship, and respect of teammates, opponents, and fans alike. She played with determination and a desire to succeed and had great appreciation for the team sport. She made sure everyone enjoyed themselves. In her volunteer coaching at the girls' or women's level, she made sure she was always encouraging, always cheering on the players. Barb Say has devoted a lifetime to amateur sport through participating, coaching, and volunteering. She passed away in 2011. At this time, it's my honor and privilege to welcome Barb Say as the newest member of the Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame and to call on her niece, Kim Dixon.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I'd like to congratulate all the members that have been inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame this evening and the ones no longer with us. Our family is honored and proud to accept this award on Barb's behalf. Everyone loved Barb. She made a significant impact as a player, coach, mentor, and in Brockville girls hockey programs. Barb inspired many people over the years to love sports, whether that be hockey, golf, baseball, or broomball. She was always there to cheer on her family and friends at all sports. As we stand here reflecting, it becomes evident that her impact reached far beyond the scoreboard. Barb was a great athlete, shared so much sports knowledge and passion with others. Barb's commitment has left an incredible impact on our hearts and the sports we love. Her legacy will live on as her impact continues to resonate within our hearts. When Barb was there to cheer you on, you felt her large presence and love. I'm sure she is looking down on us, smiling, proud, and honored as she is inducted into the Brockville Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Barb, on this well-deserved honor. We love you.
Started skating on the St. Lawrence River outside her home in Maitland. Became a member of the Brockville Skating Club. She began to take figure skating lessons, and at age 21, applied for a position influenced by her coach to skate with the famous Ice Capades show. And in 1966, she won a position on the line of girls. So off she went to Washington, D.C. to learn to be part of the famous ice show, which performed in most of the larger cities in North America. 2 years later, she accepted the position of line captain, which meant that if any member of the line could not skate, she would have to replace them at a performance. She was also responsible for teaching all members of the line how to do their performances. She left Ice Capades in 1971. She taught figure skating in California for several years, as well as working as a secretary at the Paramount Pictures TV production in the TV industry in Los Angeles. But she's always had a love for figure skating. She's organized 2 Ice Capades skater reunions that were held in Las Vegas with 500 plus retired skaters. She presently lives in Toronto. She creates a monthly letter for hundreds of retired skaters, and she still skates, as well as being a volunteer at the Toronto Zoo. For her inspiration for the sport of professional figure skating and skating with one of the world's most famous ice skating shows, it's an honor to welcome to the Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame, Gloria Lore Spoon. Gloria, you'll be officially inducted tomorrow evening in a special ceremony, but it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Hall of Fame tonight.
Very much.
Thank you, Bruce, for that wonderful introduction. Unfortunately, he took most of my thunder, what I was going to say in my speech. I might as well just leave now. Anyway, I would like to thank the Kinsmen and the Brockville and Area Sports Hall of Fame for this outstanding honor, and congratulations to my fellow inductees. I feel very special to be included in this amazing group. I'm standing here today because of my brother Joe. Over the years, he has kept an eye on his sisters and always came up with ways to surprise us. He managed to pull this one on me. It began last year when he started asking me questions about my time in Ice Capades. I didn't put two and two together until I found out that he had nominated me for this honor. He said, "I don't tell you girls everything." Those who know him understand what I'm saying. Unfortunately, he can't be here today, but I know he's proud of me and continue our family name in Brockville. I can still remember stepping on the ice for the first time at the old Memorial Center in my black skates when I was 5. We had a cottage on the St. Lawrence, and some of my early skating days were spent there on the river. The other popular place was the Bay, and we always had a great time. I had heard that the Bay had opened again, and when it's cold enough, would love to come down and skate there. At that time, I had no aspirations about joining an ice show, but my coach took me to Toronto to audition. He told me, he says, "Go out there and do a nice split jump." So off I went, fell on the jump somehow. They still took me. And as they say, the rest is history. I never thought that by running off to join an ice show would be life-altering. It took me places I never thought I would see or do. One of the items on my bucket list was to get to Los Angeles. When we were on the train coming into LA for the first time, I was craning my neck out the window, searching to find my first palm tree. Little did I know that after I left the show, I would end up living there for a few years, bragging to my family how nice and warm it was, wishing them a Merry Christmas while lounging by my pool. It's been almost 30 years since I moved back to Toronto, and surprisingly prefer the changes in the seasons. I spent 5 years on the road from 1966 to 71. For part of that time, as Bruce said, I became line captain, and one of my responsibilities was making sure that I knew the choreography for the entire show. I can barely remember 3 counts of 8 of my line dancing classes today, so it's a good thing I had a good memory at that time. When we hired new skaters while on tour, I had to make sure that they were taught the choreography and were eventually placed in the numbers. I was also responsible to conduct the auditions in each city. Ice Capades folded in the 90s, but our memories are still there. Reunions began, and we have been having them about every 5 years in Las Vegas. I took the task to organize 2 of them in 2010 and 2015 for 500 people each time who gathered together to share stories and to keep in touch. Here's a quick story of how I made my professional debut in Ice Capades. I think that most of you in this crowd may have heard of Soupy Sales, and he was famous in his day for his song Birdwatching Man. The highlight to his act was that he got hit in the face with a pie each time. The show was going to New York, as they thought that bringing in a guest star, it would entice people to come see the show. Enter Soupy, who needed 2 skaters to help him. I was one of the newer skaters, and very low in seniority, which is how I got the job. I think you know where this is going. He would do his song, and when he was almost done, he would be standing in the middle of the ice. My partner and I would be on either side of him to hopefully hit him with a pie, but then he would duck, and we were the ones who got hit in the face every night with mentholated shaving cream. That's how it all started. Welcome to the glamorous world of showbiz. I am still skating with a great group of seniors in Toronto. There are people in their 80s and 90s who know that we need to exercise to keep healthy. We even had a lady who skated after she turned 100. She was amazing, and whenever we felt like we didn't want to skate that day, we think of her. We are lucky to be in a rink that is open year-round, and we get to skate up to 5 times a week if we want. We keep an eye on each other, and when someone falls, we rally around them to make sure that they are all okay. I have tripped over my feet a few times doing silly things and have landed on my butt. As they are all staring down at me, the comment was made, "You're a professional. You're not supposed to fall." So my standard comeback to them is, in order to become a professional, you have to fall a lot. Thank you again, Brockville, for this amazing honor. I am always proud to say I'm from Brockville. You will always be home to me and our family. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Jeff Kyle. The Brockville connection is one of the main reasons that the City of Ottawa has an NHL franchise today. Along with Cyril Leader, Randy Sexton, and Mark Bono, who's in the audience, Jeff played an instrumental role in helping get the franchise to Ottawa in 1992. Jeff worked there as the Vice President of Ticketing and Marketing for more than 20 years. Jeff grew up in Brockville, playing football and basketball at BCI. He went on to play football for Queen's University as a defensive back in the early 1980s. With the Ottawa Senators, Sir Leader always praised Jeff as one of the guys who did a lot of the work behind the scenes to make the team successful. He has been described as a good person, always willing to help, intelligent, and good with strategy. Sir recalled Jeff was one step ahead of everybody else in the boardroom with his attention to detail and his organization skills. In the voting for hosting the 2012 NHL All-Star Game, Jeff had a plan to get 4 of the Senator players selected for the game, but to do that, Ottawa had to outsmart those Leaf fan base in the voting strategy. His plan worked, and 4 Senators were in that All-Star Game. Jeff was a difference maker, and he lived life to the fullest. Even after he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, he made the most of every day. Along with the Senators, he enjoyed his family, which some are in the audience tonight, fitness, fishing, and golf. Sadly, he passed away this spring at the age of 62. At this time, it is my honor and privilege to welcome Jeff Kyle as the newest inductee to the Brockville and Area Sports Hall of Fame. Jeff's brother Jay is here to accept the award on his behalf.
And the papers. I gotta give you all this.
Thanks, Marianne.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here with you. Congratulations to all the inductees. It's a real pleasure to come back to Brockville and be here and see some of the former athletes that I knew growing up and some of the inductees. Dave and I played football and basketball together at BCI. Terry Halpenny, I was on that team with Cyril and Randy, and I remember Terry Halpenny very well. He was always so committed to his players. Neil McHugh was our goalie on the Juvenile All-Stars, the team that I played with, so another connection here tonight. And of course, Roger Donor fixed all my teeth when they got broken, playing All-Star hockey here in Brockville. I want to tell you a little bit about my brother, as Marianne mentioned. He passed away about 7 weeks ago. He would have been thrilled to be here tonight. His wife and his kids are currently in Regina. His son is graduating from the RCMP Academy in a couple of days, so my dad and the rest of our family are out there to support him, and that's why they couldn't be here tonight. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my brother growing up. And I know you know a little bit about him from the Senators, but he was quite an athlete growing up. BCI ruled back then, didn't they, Dave? I know TIS is ruling right now. But In our younger days, my brother grew up, went to Commonwealth Public School. He was quite an athlete. Well, we came from a very athletic family. I see some of the people in the audience, and they know. If you ever knew my dad's 90, almost 93. He's still very active in sports here in Brockville. I mean, he curls 4 days a week. He was an all-star basketball, football, and baseball player here in the area. And we got instilled in us very early a sense of competitiveness in our family. It didn't matter if it was a board game or one-on-one basketball in the backyard. Every game pretty much ended up in a brawl at our house on James Street. My brother went to BCI, was mentioned earlier. He was an all-star point guard. He was a national champion rower, schoolboy champion in the pairs and the fours. He was also an alternate on the World Championship team in 1978 with John Armitage and the Earl brothers, and I believe they're all inducted into the Hall of Fame as well. But it wasn't until grade 12 that he actually started playing football. And I can remember the day he called me up. I was already at Western, and he asked me, he said, could I come up and visit you at Western, and could you introduce me to the coach and some of the players? And I said, sure. Darwin Samodiak was the head coach at the time. And I spoke with Darwin. I said, my brother's coming up. He'd like to check out Western. And a friend of mine, Greg Marshall, who eventually became a great football coach and was an All-Canadian, they took my brother around, and we showed him facilities. And I thought, oh, this is a lock. We got him here at Western. But that was my brother. He was very independent and very stubborn, and he wanted to make his own way, so he went to Queens. And when he was at Queens, he met Doug Hargraves, and he played for Doug, and he was a walk-on. And in his first year, he made the team, and then by his second year, he was already a starter. And I think a lot of that goes back to the life lessons he learned and the hard work when he was at BCI. He had a successful 5-year career at Queens, but it wasn't until 1982 when Queens was in the Vanier Cup, and my brother was playing for the national championship, and he was the captain of the Queens defense. And unfortunately, they didn't win that game, but my brother recorded 3 interceptions in the first half. It's a record that stood for 42 years. So after his days at Queens, he moved on and he tried out for the Ottawa Rough Riders. But very soon he realized football wasn't going to be his career. And so then he began the transition into the business world. And he worked for a company called Terrace Investments in Ottawa. And my cousin, Mark Bunno, who's over there, and was with them as well, and Randy and Cyril, former my teammates of mine. Jeff joined them, and then, as you know, most of you know the story, the Terrace Investments became the Ottawa Senators, and Jeff spent a successful career as the vice president. And it's not just the role he had, it was the people that he met along the way that he often spoke about the most. He enjoyed the job, but he really enjoyed the people that he worked with. I know if Jeff could be here tonight, he'd certainly be more than proud to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And on behalf of my family, I want to thank everyone for that opportunity.
Phil Patterson. Phil Patterson is one of the most accomplished amateur athletes in Eastern Ontario. He was a Memorial Cup champion with the Ottawa 67s in 1984 and had a short minor pro hockey career. But it was golf where he really stood out with his achievements. He started playing golf at the age of 7, but that took a backseat to hockey until that career finished. In 1994, he moved to Prescott and has dominated the amateur golf scene ever since. He has competed with and against some of the best golfers in Eastern Ontario, winning some of the top amateur tournaments in the area. Phil has won the Gill Classic in Brockville, been a 3-time Memorial Cup champion, a 3-time Memorial Tournament champion, a 3-time Whig Standard winner, along with capturing the Ottawa City and District Championship. That's not just beating local club golfers, that is beating the best golfers in Eastern Ontario. If he was in a tournament, he was always viewed as a contender to win. He also has won the club championship at Prescott an amazing 22 times. When he first started, he was the young hotshot. Now, he is still beating the young guys who think they are the hotshots. Yeah, you guys. Phil has been inducted twice into the Kemptville and District Sports Hall of Fame. Once for his own hockey achievements, and once for the team that won the Pee Wee Silver Stick Championship. Now, it is my honor and privilege to welcome Phil Patterson as the newest member of the Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame.
Phil, it's our honor to have you into the Hall of Fame. You'll be officially inducted tomorrow, and we'll have a chance to tell you then.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Bruce. Ron, this can go out the window because you pretty much covered all the bases with that. However,
something he missed.
There's a couple of things he missed. First of all, good evening to everyone. I'd like to start by saying it's an honor to be selected to this prestigious group of sports people. I look out on the wall when I come into this building and see all the individuals and read their accomplishments and consider myself very lucky to be chosen to share a spot on the wall with them. I'd like to congratulate this year's inductees as well. Without the volunteers as well that put in the countless hours of time, sports wouldn't be what it is. A special shout out to Ron. Ron has been a great supporter of mine while covering the area's sports for years with the Recorder and Times. With his camera always ready, there was never a chance of him snapping a pic too soon to distract your focus. Ron has probably given me more press over the years than Rory McIlroy's got in the last few days. I would also like to thank my family. They've always been supportive of me in all my endeavors. Now, one thing Ron didn't say, or I didn't tell Ron because I wanted to kind of pump my own tires up here a little bit, was during the Memorial Cup tournament in 1984. It was very exciting, and we had won our way to the cup that year, winning 16 out of 17 games in the playoffs. So we ended up the first game we played in the tournament. We played Laval. We beat them 6-5 that game. I got 2 assists and scored the winning goal. Thank you. And was selected the first star of the game. The second star of the game happened to be a guy by the name of Mario Lemieux. So that's my claim to fame. After the Memorial Cup, there was a cup of coffee in Milwaukee with the Chicago Blackhawks Farm Club and a couple of seasons in Europe, in Holland. And that was the end of my hockey dream. Then I moved to, when I came back from my hockey travels, I moved to Brockville and Prescott. I was originally from Kempville, so there was a bit of a rivalry all through my minor hockey days against the Brockville Warriors, and I see some of the parents of some of the guys I played against, and we've become friends now. So that's what sports does. Anyhow, my passion turned to golf, and I started to play in some local tournaments in the area, and became quite good at it. Still to this day, I every time I go to the golf course, I try to do better than I did the last game. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's golf. As Ron mentioned, I have 22 club championships at the Prescott Golf Course. However, I'm still trailing the legendary Jim J.D. Mackay by 7 titles. So I'm still going to try to surpass that. So again, I'd like to thank everybody, the selection committee, for choosing me to be a part of this illustrious group, and we look forward to the ceremony tomorrow night.
Our next inductee we all call a friend here. He would like nothing better than to be a professional play-by-play hockey announcer on a television network. He was a junior goaltender, but his talents were showcased in broadcasting more than 500 league and playoff games for the Central Junior Hockey League in his always entertaining style. For 7 years, starting in 2010, he was the face of Sports on Cue, a popular sports show on Brockville Cable. He had a wide and in-depth historical knowledge of local sports, was a longtime contributor to this committee. He was a lifelong fan of the Montreal Expos, able to recite the lineups in English and French, and an avid collector of local sports memorabilia. In 2018, he was honored with his first ever broadcasting award by the CCHL. The day before he died, Neil called me. He wanted to thank me because we went to Toronto to the Hockey Hall of Fame inductions a few times together, where I had a good chance to get to know Neil. He wanted me to thank me for that. He wanted to thank me for everything that I had done for the Sports Hall of Fame. And he said that he wanted to be in the Sports Hall of Fame. Well, tonight, Neil, you are going into the Sports Hall of Fame. I'd like to ask his daughter to come on up and accept this award. I know how proud Neil would be. We're just sorry that we couldn't do it before he passed away.
I'm a little slow moving these days. Thanks for your patience. First of all, I'm of course my father's daughter, and I want to start with a massive thank you to Bruce and the committee, because I can tell you we all have lifelong dreams. I'm sure you can think of yours. Some of us make them happen. Unfortunately, some of us say, okay, this is good enough, I'm okay with this. Quite literally, this was my dad's dream. This exact moment. Sports was not just a hobby for my dad. For anyone who knew him really well, it was literally his life. I mean, literally his life. For anyone who knows him really well, he lost his entire family by the time he was around my age. I think you can imagine what that loss feels like, or you can't. And I can tell you, he always loved sports before that happened. He loved it even more once that happened. And I think, in my perspective, sports was the most solid relationship that my dad could rely on, where he found joy, always. He knew where to find it, how to get it, how to access it. And broadcasting was not just broadcasting for the Brockville Braves and all the other things he did on the side. He broadcasted long before that, you guys, to the point where my brother and I were like, will you be quiet? I mean, play-by-plays down the hallway, in the bathroom, downstairs, quite literally everywhere. And I heard quite a few really, really good stories at one point of a few people who used to go to the bar with my dad, and apparently he did this really good echo. I don't know if anyone remembers that. I sure do, because I was privy to it very often. But what I'm trying to say is, sports wasn't just a hobby. It was literally his entire soul. It was everything, everything. And like Bruce said, the day before my dad, a couple days before my dad passed, grief has a funny way of hitting you at random times. We had a pastor come in and sit with my dad. And this is cute, and it's cute all at the same time. And the pastor said to my dad, okay, Neil, we're going to reflect on your life, and we're going to go over the things that were really, really good. So he shut his eyes, and she says, okay, Neil, what are you thankful for? And he says, my sports show, broadcasting, the Brockville Braves, sports. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm like, okay, that's fair, that's fair. But he also gave me, to the best of his ability, vivid instructions, like he tried to give Bruce via voicemail, for how to get into the Sports Hall of Fame. So this is a big deal. Like, this is a really big deal. That's really all I have, you guys, other than honestly, Dad finally got his lifetime dream, and this was it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Kim Sauve. The Brockville Area Sports Hall of Fame is a pretty amazing wall of athletes and athletic achievements. It also honors the individuals who help make it possible for athletes to enjoy their sport and play to the best of their abilities. Kim Sauve has done that. She is, without a doubt, the most accomplished basketball coach, male or female, in the history of Brockville and area. She has been coaching basketball at the local, regional, provincial, and national level for 40 years. I didn't think she was that young. She has coached the St. Mary Crusaders to 3 All-Ontario gold medals and 1 silver medal. She has coached the Brockville Blazers to 5 regional and provincial gold medals. Kim was our 3M Coach of the Year in 1992. She has been given the Leeds in Grenville Coaching Award for commitment and dedication to high school athletics, along with the All-Ontario High School Leadership Award. She has coached basketball camps for Queen's University, along with development camps at the provincial and national levels. Kim has been named to the Naismith Basketball Association Hall of Fame in Elmont and has been recognized by the Toronto Raptors for her contributions. If Kim disagreed with the referee's call, she would never yell. She would stomp her foot. Some games, it would be like she was putting out a forest fire. Kim has not only coached basketball, she has pretty much coached all high school sports. She has organized tournaments, all-star games, athletic banquets, anything and everything for young players. It's a very impressive coaching career. The accolades are nice, but knowing Kim for more than 35 years, she gets a bigger kick out of her players succeeding as athletes and as people. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Kim Sauve as the newest inductee to the Brockville Area Sports Hall.
Kim, congratulations. You'll be officially inducted tomorrow. And
Thank you.
I notice the microphone's getting red, so be quick.
Uh-oh. I'm the last. The good news, I'm the last. Other good news, half of you are probably asleep now. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed nominees, coaches, athletes, Hall of Famers. I am deeply honored to stand here today and accept this award. There are so many that helped me to be here tonight. Some are here, some are far away, and some are in heaven. First, I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for considering me worthy of such a prestige honor. To be included among such an esteemed group of coaches is a privilege I do not take lightly. I want to give my heartfelt gratitude to Ron Smith and Bruce Royley. You've dedicated so many years to make this community a better place. Also, I want to thank Heather and Chrissy, who are not only incredible friends, but also took time out of their busy schedule to nominate me for tonight. You know how deeply I care for you both. Ron, I hope the community knows how much effort and passion you have for sports in this community. I've always had so much respect for you as a reporter, your commitment to athletes and sports, and even a referee. We are lucky to have you. I owe much of who I am and the values I hold to my parents. Their philosophy was simple, yet powerful. Strict rules tempered with kid-first approach. They taught us success is not just about personal achievement, but about lifting others up and supporting one another. They showed us that true strength lies in compassion, and that leadership is about service to others. My father would be so proud tonight, and I know he's here in spirit. His passion for sports was immense, and he dedicated much of his life to coaching, umpiring, and running the Empire Packers. The list could go on all night. In fact, my father was so keen and passionate, he wanted his own softball team. A for effort,
My parents had 10 kids in 12 years, so that's 9 and 1 sub. Now you know where I get my determination. I have 2 of my incredible sisters here with me tonight. Lisa, who is exactly 10 months younger than I am, and also my sister Michelle. Can you guys give a wave? Your unwavering support, caring, and nurturing have been my rock. You have been my cornerstone in mine and my children's lives. I don't even know how to fully express how grateful I am to you both. I'm speechless. Thank you. If you have had a chance to speak them tonight, you'll understand when I say they embody the true meaning of sisterhood. They are our angels on earth. Also, my beautiful goddaughter Jennifer and my rock star niece Brianna, thank you for coming all the way from Arnprior to be here tonight to celebrate. People ask me often, well, how did you end up in Brockville? Well, have I mentioned my powerful mother? I came for an interview right after graduation. At that time, there was many jobs all over the place. I received a job on the spot. My response to the board was, well, I want to see the school first. Well, that should have ended my career there. I showed up at St. Mary, was just in the process of becoming a high school. There was no real gym, there was no real field, and the school was just a little run down. I was told I would be the athletic director in charge of setting the school athletic philosophy. I left thinking, there's no way I'm working here. This is where my mother had faith in my career. I was leaving 2 days to backpack across Europe for 2 to 3 months. I told my mother, I said, I think I'm going to turn that job down. She looked at me. She says, are you planning on getting on that plane Friday? I said, well, you better have a job or you can stay there. Her words were a reminder of the importance of responsibility and foresight. That moment of practical wisdom and no-nonsense approach to life. With 9 other kids, I'm sure she said, one of you getting off payroll. Her advice stayed with me, guiding me to make decisions that are not only bold, but grounded in reality. Well, I said, fine, I'll take the job, but only for 1 year. Not realizing in that moment it would be the best and most important yes in my career. In the first year of teaching, I had fewer than 100 students, no club program, and it only went to grade 11. As I walked through the hallway searching for players, and it's dead. Yeah, so I got to use my coach's voice. As I walked through the hallway, I searched for players, and it only went to grade 11. So I approached anyone that was taller than me. Well, surprisingly, the whole school was taller than me. As a female coach, I faced a unique obstacles. Throughout my career, I have been fortunate alongside of supported and truly remarkable individuals. One couple, Kevin and Dorothy Wheeler. If you know them, they're A-class people. I owe a profound debt and gratitude to the athletes I have been privileged to coach over the years. Your hard work, determination, support have been my driving force behind our collective successes. Watching you grow, not just as athletes, but as individuals, has been the most rewarding aspect of my journey. Thank you for your trust and dedication. Your hard work and commitment are the reason I'm here today. My first provincial championship, I was the only female coach. I remember one championship game where it was 1 minute left and we were down by 1 point. I called, time out! In that intense moment, I had asked myself, oh my God, do I have a play? I can still remember the 7 pairs of eyes looking at me with so much belief. And what I was about to say, they trusted me completely. I was, oh no, okay, come up with something. Just write something on the board. Look confident. We went back on the court and we executed the play perfectly, and we won our first gold championship by 1 basket. My heart pounding, I honestly had no idea it was going to work. So your unwavering belief in me has led to several championships, but also friendships. There's actually 3 of these ladies here tonight. Please give away, you 3. You 3, all right? They're right there. They've won Team of the Year. I want to first talk about Jan Sundstrom, who has won Brockville Hall of Fame here for Sports Athlete of the Year. I think she has 3 or 4 medals as well. I pulled her up in grade 9, and she was the best 3-point shooter all across the province before Caitlin Clark's time. Yeah, she drove all the way from Deep River to be here tonight. Melanie Webber is our tension breaker on the team. When we needed a comic relief or strong screens to drive were so important. I still laugh at some of the stuff you did. I don't want to know everything though. Yeah. And Catherine Watson, the wall, the rebounder, never complained. I call her poor Catherine because she was the butt end of many of the jokes on the team. I know they picked on you, poor Catherine. I've learned many times that I was a hard coach. And it was for that reason that I want the best. The reason was because I wanted the best for my athletes, on and off the court. Our team understood that what we were doing was bigger than basketball. I had high expectation for athletes, and these 3 are shining examples of what makes coaching so rewarding. Thank you 3 beautiful ladies for being here. So remember I said I was only going to stay here a year? Well, I couldn't leave. These players, the students, they were my family. I cared and adored them deeply. I remember some of the toughest days I go through because I got through because I knew I was headed to the gym to coach my athletes. The athletes and students and the wonderful community made it easy for me to fall and stay here. I also want to thank 2 incredible coaches in my journey that were instrumental in guiding me and shaping me my career, even though there's so many. 2 I would like to mention, I call them the real coaches who put hundreds of hours, not for themselves, but for the athletes. One I would like first is Jim Toshak and his beautiful wife Barb Toshak, who I had the privilege to teach with. You know, I didn't know anyone, but Jim and the Toshak's family would take me in on weekends, and we would have chili, and we'd watch whatever sports on the TV. They also gave me a big tour of Audensburg, where I found out what Rosie and where you stuck your dollar bill, and had no clue how I got home. But the Tosh had my back. He made sure I got there. Ed Bell introduced me to Potsdam basketball camps, clinics, and encouraged me to coach the Blazers. Actually, the first coaching award came with your dad. I don't know if you remember. It was actually in the A-Bay. Well, other coaches were out enjoying what A-Bay was really about. I was actually at every single session, writing down notes, and the head convener said, we've never, in any time, over any years, had a coach that come to every session that sat in the front row. I got the Keener Award. Thanks for your start in basketball and for being a successful man in sport who supported successful women in sport. Right. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to all my friends. I care deeply forever grateful to all of you during my journey. You guys have been there, ups and downs, over a drink or just to hang out. I thank you very much. One of the most valuable gifts we can give is our time. Each of you has given me so much of your time, whether through encouragement or simply being there when I needed you. Thank you for that tonight. I want to end with one more thing. I want to share something deeply personal. The greatest honor and my joy are my 3 amazing, beautiful children. My dear children, Alexa, Mark, and Jessica, please know that you are the most important part of my world. Wade and Sydney, I'm so glad you joined the team. And thank you for putting sparkle in my daughter's eye, Wade, and Sydney, Mark's eye. Right? You both are amazing, strong, and confident. We are grateful to have you in our lives and hopefully share many memories. My youngest daughter, Jessica, it's actually her birthday today. Yeah. She's not here. She's not here. Although she's not here because she would love to be here, but although she's in an immense intensive program at McMaster Cardiosonography, maybe she's trying to predict my future, I'm not sure. I'm so proud of her dedication and drive. Jess, your hard work has impressed me every day. My beautiful eldest daughter, Alexa, in a short period of time as a teacher, a coach, you have already touched so many hearts and had profound impact on countless children. I know you'll continue to inspire and lead them with your incredible gifts. Marky Mark, my handsome son, your ability to make people feel comfortable and value is truly special. I know your future student athletes will be blessed to have you as their teacher. Your worth is genuine and you take care for others is undoubtedly make a lasting difference. While I am incredibly proud to receive this award, my true pride is being your mom. I hope you see me here truly today. You feel a sense of pride, not just in my achievements, but in the love and dedication I have for you. I hope I made you proud, and I promise to continue to striving to be the best mom and role model I can be. My heart is full. Thank you, Brockville.
I'd like to call on Jim Cooper, president of CanArm. I decided this year really that we should get a sponsor for teams. In past years, we could only afford to give one ticket out for a team. This year, thanks to CanArm, they each got 8 tickets. So thank you to CanArm for that.
You talked about 53 years or so. Bruce and my business partner David Beattie have done a lot for the city. Volunteered a lot of things. If I was to send a message out to the young people in the room, remember the people that volunteered for you, remember the coaches, and pay it back. Pay it forward.
All right, the teams of the year. Brockville Blazers under 14 boys, Legion Track and Field under 18 boys, St. Lawrence Rapids speed skating, TIS boys hockey, TIS senior boys basketball. Jim, team of the year.
Brockville Legion Track and Field U18.
Jim Kafanzakis was the first person I met when I came to Brockville. First pizza I had when I came to Brockville was from Luna Pizzeria. And it was just a little small place at that time. Anyway, his son Nick is in control there now. We're delighted to have them as sponsors. And Nick, I'm just going to announce who the sports persons of the year are, and if they would stand up as I announce the names. Matt Billings, stock car driver. Neil Condren. Travis Gaffney, Mom, stand up. Farrah Stacy, gymnast, and Annie Tremblay, speed skater.
All right. Winner is, Neil Condren.
Okay.
Big smile.
I'm speaking on Neil's behalf, if that's okay with you, Neil.
Neil says, I'm very honoured to receive this award. And thank you to the committee and the group for nominating me. Thank you to my coaches, volunteers at Special Olympics Brockville, who, by the way, are an excellent organisation. I have to. Neil's very proud to be part of that organisation, and I can't say enough about it. Thank you to Mum and Dad for their support. Thank you to Bruce Wiley here for holding this event along with the other members of the group. And thank you everyone else.
Congratulations to all the winners and all the nominees tonight. By the way, Florida leads 1-0 at the end of the first period. What's the 1-1 now? Okay, Evans is good.